Can you hear me?
Mike Davis? Yes, sir.
Oh, you can. Thank you so very much. I want to commend Governor Gavin Newsom for signing the measure to have this commission, and certainly Secretary of State Shirley Weber and the entire committee, all of those of you as distinguished citizens who have conducted this discussion, which I find to be very intriguing and welcoming. My position in terms of should African Americans who are descendants of slaves be entitled to reparations is simply yes, absolutely. When I look not only at lineage and how critically important it is, I do recognize how difficult it would be that some people might have some difficulty in terms of being able to quickly identify their lineage. But however, the bad cannot be the all end all and be all for all of be able to make that connection. And certainly I agree with many of the experts who have testified here today that we need to have a broad perspective in terms of providing assistance and including many individuals that we know that they are not from somewhere else. And we know the pathology in this country of African Americans and the African American experience. When I look at very briefly today's lineage, conceptualization versus the environment we're in with Proposition 209 that effectively limited education, government jobs, and specifically contracting, which is the tool to put a shot in the arm of the economy of families and communities. How, in fact, it limited the opportunities for African Americans to participate in publicly funded programs. And so lineage, in fact, is the concept that allows us to be able to more effectively deal with Proposition 209. And in every city, I'm from Los Angeles, in every city and county, we deal with Proposition 209. We are often told and reminded that it says that there should not be preferences for women and for people based upon race. But we are very rarely told that 209 also says under Section 32, Article 1A, it says first and foremost, if you look at the analysis of it, that you cannot discriminate based upon people based upon race and gender. But we are not told that as often. And so when we look forward to creating an opportunity and an environment and a culture where there is truly equal protection of the law for publicly funded programs, and particularly programs such as public contracting, it's the lineage that will allow us to truly navigate and get the right opportunities that we so rightfully deserve in publicly funded programs. Because through looking at lineage, we're not talking about race. We're not talking about gender. And there are other unique and peculiar phenomena in terms of how we count. Census is that we count race, Asians, African Americans, but then we count Latinos, which is also a culture. A Latino can be as dark as I am, or they can be as light as Tom Hanks, because we put culture in counting the census along with race. In my final analysis, for us to create an opportunity in this state of California, in this very great and path binding discussion on reparations, as we consider this, as California has a heritage and a legacy of shaping policy in America, let us do so with the understanding that we can make a difference when we look at what the facts are in terms of the action that has been most adverse to the growth and developments of African Americans in this country, and that is the institution of slavery. And so I conclude by saying to you that I am 100% in support of the great work that has been done by all of those of you who are on this commission, and that the question that you have before you is, should African Americans who are descendants of slaves be entitled to reparations? Even here in California, the country's most multicultural community. And in that, we've had many public policies that have accommodated people from various places, from various stations in the country and in the world. And so we cannot shy away from the great opportunities that African Americans, those who were formerly enslaved, should rightfully be entitled to. These are publicly funded projects, and yet today's situation that limits us is a policy that came straight out of the state of California, Proposition 209. And I finally say that, as Dr. King has said many times, and again through recordings that we have heard after his death, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so I support this commission. I think it is a dynamic, a very welcoming discussion on public policy. And I'm confident that African Americans who have been formerly enslaved and have the lineage to it, and the thousands that can prove it, deserve to have justice. And for those who might have some difficulty, they deserve to have assistance to connect that socket to the plug and making a difference, because we know that they didn't come from somewhere else. They came from here. And eventually, with a broad-based concept, we can create the kind of justice that everyone deserves. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to give some brief remarks today.